we continue with the part 2 of Don't Stop Vulnerable Machine. Now, last thing we did is grabbing the password for the SSH. Now, as you can see here, after using John the Ripper to crack the password, we have ended up with the password of, as you can see, it's 10 stars. So now we're gonna try to SSH using this password. So going on here, SSH, and we will use the username, which is here. Copy and paste. Okay, the password is 10 stars. Okay. Now here it's saying that there's a problem with your connection and you should try or contact the system administrator for this. Now, as you can see here, we have an error code in page 64 here, and in addition to that, as you can see here, there is some note or hint by the creator of the vulnerable machine telling you that there is a name here. Okay, now this hint is or could be understood that this name is kind of username, or it's like telling, it's like the creator of the vulnerable machine is trying to tell us that, okay, now there's a hint here and try to guess that the use of this name here. It's kind of obvious and clear that this is a username. So here we have a username here, and if we take this code here, copy, basically there is some mistake in the code here. Actually, the right page 64 code is, I'm gonna put it in the description of the video here, which is this. If you take this error code and go to new terminal, echo, and it's obvious that this is page 64. Okay, now let's see what we've got. Here we got another page 64 salted text or message here, as you can salted, and there is a flag here. So upon decrypting the error code, we got another page 64, and it has been decrypted as well to give out the flag, which is the 6th flag, by the way. Now, given that we have a username which is Porio, okay, now if we try to brute force the password, as you know that Porio is a username on the SSH server. Now if we try to brute force the password using rocku.txt, I'm gonna show you here how to do it without running the command, because it's gonna take up some time and you guys want the end results and learn the basic concept. So if you try to run the command hydra, and if you use the username Porio and the word list would be use a word list like user share word lists rocku.txt. Make sure you use this word list, okay? And the SSH server is, now if you run this command, it's gonna rotate and circle around the word list file to give you the password. Now, again, I'm not gonna run this command right now. It's gonna take some time, and you will find, if you apply this command, you will find the password is lets you update your fun notes and more. Now if we take this password, okay, take it here and copy it. Now if we go and try to log in again, but this time with username Pordio, now let's paste the password, and here we got logged in into the SSH server. And if we type to see the current working directory, as you can see here, but the problem here is upon typing, if you type echo to see the shell we are in, you will see that we are in our bash shell. And as you all know that our bash shell is a restricted shell in which you can't issue or type all of the commands. So most of the commands, most of the substantial commands are restricted from being typed in the terminal. So now we are in a restricted environment, we need to bypass this environment. Okay, if you try to echo the environment variable, as you can see here, we are in user sbin bin. This is the environment variable. If you try to type ls, you can't issue ls. You don't have privilege or permission to issue this type of commands. If you type who am I, you can't issue who am I as well. So upon finding how to bypass our bash, I come across a command. If you type this command here, it's asking about the password. Let's type the password here, copy, okay, now paste. Pordio is not allowed to execute bin bash as a root on non-stop. Okay, let's try again. You should try to have a notes on your while trying to practicing vulnerable machines. As you can see here, I have my notes. Again, it's asking about the password. It's weird. Paste. Let's go again and grab the password. Where's the password, by the way? Okay. Let me make sure that I'm pasting the password correctly. Okay. Let me have okay, let me look out. Okay, now again. Okay, and the password is sorry. Okay. Unable to resolve host don't stop. Is my machine is running? Okay. Okay. Let me try. There's a problem with connectivity, I think. So here, no, it works actually. If we go to actually, if I go back here, actually I'm not executing any command as bin bash. Why is it taking the commands being executed by me as bin bash is something that I can't figure out. So let me go back to my notes and see if I can apply the second one, which is here. Okay. It seems that there is something had been executing while running the previous command, and then it stopped. And for that reason, I made a for loop that will execute this command incessantly or constantly to see what will be done upon the continuation of this command. Now this command is supposed to enter in an infinite loop where the execution wouldn't stop. Okay, so every time the counter ends at some point in the counting process, it will reconstruct the process again and begin counting and and executing. As you can see here, it didn't stop, and it's now, I think it's rerun the command again as seen in the loop. So I'm gonna fire new terminal and see if this is opening a new port on our machine. Okay, now port 22, 25, 20. Okay, down there is a port, TCP port, that hasn't been seen previously in the first place. Now this port here is running web MIN, and if I suppose that this version of the service here is vulnerable to some um, or has some kind of vulnerability, let's see if I fire up Metasploit to see what are the available exploits for this kind of service. Now let's search for this service. It's gonna take some time to find the related module that we are interested in or we are searching about. Okay, now we have three modules or three kind of exploits that we can harness in order to exploit the web MIN service. Now here, in a nutshell, the first exploit and the last exploit here are kind of not useful or not applicable in this scenario, as the first one requires us to have the web MIN username, and the last one requires us to have the web MIN password, and none of those are available for us. So if we use the middle one here, file disclosure, and this vulnerability here, if exploited correctly, will enable the attackers to view sensitive and critical directories or files hosted on the web server. So let's use this exploit. See what are the required options. Okay, our host and rpath etc password. Now we can change this a variable here to a value in which we are interested, or in which we are trying to search or have the value of. So let's set our path to something else. Now, as we were in an instructed shell, which is our bash, we need to have a more privileged session with SSH. Okay, as we need a more privileged session on SSH, we need to have the private keys and public key of the host. Okay, for that purpose, I'm gonna let the Metasploit to grab the two files here, id rsa and id rsa.pub. Okay, now just you need to set here the rpath to be root and .ssh, then id rsa. Okay, now you have to do the same process here for the public key. Okay, and add the extension pub. Okay, I'm not gonna do this, okay, as I have the two files here. Okay, but I'm gonna show you the process, how it's done. Now I'm gonna close this window here. Okay, now I'm gonna get back to my SSH. As you can see here, our loop that has been typed in the SSH command is being executed continuously and constantly, and it's not stopping. As you can see, it doesn't stop. So let's go back, and we will use those keys here in order to try to log in to the SSH server. But before you use the ID RSA, you need to crack the password. Okay, you do so by using SSH to John, and you put the file to your private key, as you can see here. This is the hash for the password, which has been selected or chosen by the host in order to create their private key. So this is the hash for the password. Okay, now all we need to do is grab this hash, okay, paste it to a new file. I paste it to a file called hash, as you can see here. And don't forget to include the SSH here so that John knows that this kind of hash is SSH RSA hash. Okay, now then clear John. Let's use the word list. Okay, and the hash file. I think I have to use the option show because I have cracked the password before. Okay, now as you can see here, the cracked password is Gustatimo, I don't know. Okay, now we will use this password along with the private key in order to have our SSH session being privileged or upgraded to root or shell. So now SSH now the key is and we have pawned the machine. As you can see here, we are root id hostname root. Okay then, so that's it. Hope you find it useful and hope you find it enjoyable, and thank you.